Hello, everyone. We're going to take a look at some information on the three cemeteries that I looked at the other day. And I think you're going to really get a kick out of this one. We're going to start with the Union Cemetery, also known as the Historic Union Cemetery, the oldest surviving public cemetery in Kansas City, Missouri. It was founded on November 9th, 1857 as the private shareholder-owned corporation Union Cemetery Assembly. As a commercial enterprise remote from city limits, its 49 acres become a well-funded and remarkably landscaped destined by 1873. Through the late 1800s and early 1900s, it declined into hazardous burial practices and virtually no maintenance. Some graves, including some shallow or mass graves, were permanently unmarked, unidentifiable, and human remains were scattered into Potter's Field. What's Potter's Field? Place for the burial of unknown, unclaimed, or indigent people. I have never heard that term before. Oh, well, in 1889, all records were lost when the sexton's cottage burned. What a shame. In the early 1900s, human remains were inadvertently plowed and dynamited up during development of roads and businesses. Sorry. A legacy of loss. Alright, I think I'm composed now. A legacy of lawsuits and public campaigns from the 1910s through the 1930s led by bereaved families, including survivors of area settlers and boosters. Created new leadership and city park status with accorded maintenance. Says Union Cemetery is now a public park and tourist attraction occupying most of Union Hill Historic Neighborhood, which, by the way, the neighborhood over here in Union Hill is incredible. I was driving through on my way to this. It's surviving old world everything. But anyways, obviously, it's by the Liberty Memorial, Union Station, downtown, Crown Center, etc. On October 19th, 1873, 16 years after founding, and 1 year after the founding of Elmwood Cemetery. What's Elmwood Cemetery? Looks like somewhere we're going to have to put on the list here. Anyways, the Kansas City Times published a picturesque overview of this city of the dead, then located less than 1 mile south of the expanding Kansas City. And I'm not going to read this, what they had to say about it. I found the City of the Dead title there for their publication interesting. In 1889, the cemetery sexton's cottage burned, including the major loss of historical burial records, leaving hundreds of wreathed wooden and limestone grave markers unidentifiable. So apparently they're blaming this fire on some of the damage to the grave markers By 1910, after decades of virtually no maintenance, the cemetery's condition and the association's reputation had degraded to a public disgrace. Kansas City's boom then neighbored the cemetery with major new development, including Union Station, creating press about the cemetery's condition. Oh, look at this. So we saw this as we were heading in and out of the gate. This was Sexton's cottage, apparently. Not the original, because the original had burned to the ground, damaging gravestones in the process. Oh boy, how do I get out of this? And this looks familiar. We looked at this one. This is the man that had done it all, if you remember. He was an artist. He was many things. World renowned, I believe that they said. Something like that. This is saying down here the defacement of George Caleb Bingham's gravestone forced a sweeping rehabilitation of the blighted Union Cemetery and surrounding city area. So it did all that, but nobody could be bothered to try to repair Mr. George Bingham's face. Past decades of newspaper coverage about the cemetery's deterioration was then accentuated by more lawsuits discovering a long history of haphazard mass graves. What's the deal with this place and the mass graves over here? In 1911, City Councilor H.S. Conrad displayed in court a sack full of bones, those of men, women, children, picked up at random in a walk through the cemetery. The unsanitary conditions included broken coffins, stagnant water, thick brush, uncut weeds, and toppled headstones. And we go on to talk about, they're going to throw some more money at it and yada yada. And I think that's pretty much going to do it for the Union Cemetery here. Whole lot of shenanigans going on, as usual. And I think I'm going to split these cemeteries up in at least 3 parts, maybe 2. I might combine the last 2. I think this one deserves a spot all by itself. But I appreciate your time and thank you for watching.